What is up, RotoGrinders? Good morning. It is a non-stop MLB DFS conversation taking you all the way up the first pitch. We got 2 hours, 6 games. In theory, 6 games. But as of right now, one of these games looking pretty dicey. Chief Mineralogist Kevin Roth will be jumping on later during crunch time. He's telling us that red-orange. Red is the lead color, which means it's very, very dicey in Chicago. That's Philadelphia. And the White Sox, it is Wednesday. It's not just a Wednesday. It's a wheel Wednesday. Producer Steve is feeling very, very generous today. Well, we apologize for being a couple minutes late. Don't worry. We have an hour and 15 minutes till we yield to crunch time to knock out 5 or 6 games. I think we have plenty of time to go through it. We're going to do a little throwback here, a throwback wheel Wednesday. He's going to go ahead and drop it in the Discord channel, rotogrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. We spin the wheel. How do you get your name on the wheel to get yourself a week free of RotoGrinders Premium? Well, again, get that Discord channel, rotogrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel. Steve has a post that says Wheel Wednesday. Just hit the avatar. Your name's going to go on the wheel. And, I don't know if you know this, Stevie. We got Stevie joining us. There's been a lot of people. People are saying that the wheel has been rigged for years. We de-rigged it. It's no longer rigged. This is the first time it's going to be completely legit, the wheel. I have it on good authority. They went to the back channels. They worked out all the kinks. No longer rigged. The wheel. We'll spin it once. We're going to spin it once. And if we get 100 likes, we'll spin it twice. 2 individual people getting a week free of RG Premium. Get excited. Stevie, welcome. How are things?
I'm good. Tired. But isn't that like just a morning show ritual for me and you to be tired? I mean, we are not morning people, you and I. So we partake in late night shenanigans when it comes to working. You and I both typically work pretty late at night. You watching TV, me actually getting stuff done and being productive. So
no, I am a multitasker. I can do both things at once. I definitely sometimes I will be watching TV, watching a movie. I did that at night. I try to wind down and I try to watch like one movie a day. I don't know. It seems like it's like, that way, not that difficult. Just have 2 hours. You figure out 2 hours. But that's something I generally do, depending on. I probably about to watch a movie a day. But I sometimes, I like to be the person that pays attention. I won't be the guy on my phone during a movie. But if it's not very good, if it's not something I feel like I have to pay attention to, I will sometimes zone out. But typically, I want to give the attention. They took the time to make the movie, so I'll give it my attention. But but I was working pretty late setting up for today's 2 shows. We will be on later as well. I guess I say we. I think it's myself and Kyle later on. Kind of a split slate. 6 games later on, 6 games early. At least we think it's going to be 6, or maybe it's going to be 5 because we might lose Philadelphia and Chicago. But I do work much better. Like 2:00 in the morning. That's like when I'm like, that's my wheelhouse. That's when I'm sharpest. I don't know about yourself. I guess you sound like the same thing for you. And you, your schedule might have changed a little bit because I think we were talking about a pre-show. You're doing some coaching. So is that throwing you off? You had some tryouts last night, you were saying. So,
no, I guess it really hasn't changed my schedule too much. But yeah, I mean, it's it'd be interesting, like what my schedule looks like after baseball season, like during football and stuff. Because I mean, my schedule can't really change right now with NASCAR and baseball. So yeah, I mean, just less sleep, but I'm used to that. I have kids.
Getting some lineups, by the way. Lineups coming through. India, not in the Kansas City lineup. Neither is John Rave, who was anticipated to be in there. Adam Frazier, Isbell, and Freddie Firmino. Who's who of players you don't want to roster. Luke Male also not in there. Firmino, I guess, doing the catching. Is Perez in there? Maybe they're running out 2 catchers today. That's probably what's going on there. But Astros lineup also dropping. I don't think it's anything eventful. Tuve, Diaz, Walker, Smith, Caratini, Dobon, Hummel, McCormick, and Short. That is your Houston Astros. So some lineups are coming on through. Again, we're going to talk about the early slates now on a Wheel Wednesday. Get in that Discord channel. I see it scrolling as well on the screen, so you can't miss it. Get yourself a week free of RG Premium. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, MMA, PGA, WNBA, all the goods, all the bells, all the whistles, projections, optimizer, SimLabs, articles, anything you can think of. You mentioned football right around the corner, right? It's coming Thursday is the Hall of Fame game. I think they call it something else now. I don't think it's called the Hall of Fame game, but enshrinement game, which is same thing. I believe there's going to be a video recording for the Showdown slate. There is a $200,000 Showdown contest on DK. I'm pretty sure it's going to be recording today, so that's why you subscribe. You turn those notifications so you know when that gets posted. If you're in those streets, I'm not besmirching Stevie. I'm not looking down on anybody that happens to be partaking in such contests, but if that's your thing, we got you covered. As far as the video, I assume, I don't know for certain, but I assume we'll have projections as well on the site for, I think it's Detroit and the Chargers. Will you watch more or less than 1 second of the enshrinement game on Thursday night?
Let's see. Thursday night, I'll probably watch more than 1 second.
I think I'll take the under on me. I'm pretty sure take the under on me. I'm not going to watch a second.
I mean, I probably won't watch a lot of it, but I'll
play
turn it on. I mean, I'll turn it on, right? I mean, yeah, it's football. Like, I mean, realistically, I'll probably turn it on and maybe have it on like my second TV, like when I'm working, or my TV instead of my monitor or something. I don't know. We'll see. Depends, because I think there's only 2 baseball games on Thursday.
That's a good point. There's no baseball on Thursday because of the All-Star, not the All-Star, because of the trade deadline. I think there's 3 games, 1 early, 2 late. So maybe it'll be on just by default. Yeah, so maybe it'll be on. Yeah, producer Steve is saying that he's recording the Hall of Fame game after this show, so video is going to be out later on today. And there's legit edges in that because people play players that aren't playing, and they're probably not going to score points when they're wearing shorts. Since you're mentioning football, let's go ahead and talk about Fantasy Labs. Fantasy Labs, your home for season-long fantasy football as well as best ball content. Get access to rankings, projections, articles, much more. You get award-winning content from experts like Sean Corner. You know him as an odds maker on Twitter, as well as Chris Raybon. Fantasy Labs, they have the app that allows you to get real-time rankings, draft cheat sheets, a lot of advice on the go. We also have a nice sweet we have a code that gets you $15 off. RG15 gets you $15 off. You sign up now with the code RG15 for $15 off. I see Alan in chat saying, is Dallas Keuchel going to pitch? Is Dallas Keuchel back in the majors? Did I miss something? What? Is this? I've done my research. I didn't see Dallas. Is he on a team playing? I think he's in the minors somewhere, grinding away. Former Cy Young winner. Do we know about?
He's with Dallas? I thought he was with Minnesota, right? He's with the Royals. Is he the long reliever for the Royals today?
I don't know.
I didn't see him get called up, so I'll look that up here in a second.
R.I.P. Rich Hill. Well, he's still with us, but he's no longer with the Royals. Let him go.
Duh.
So maybe they brought up Dallas Keuchel for Rich Hill. Is that something they did? I don't know. He's now, I think Rich Hill, I'm pretty sure, is tied for the most teams ever in the majors. You know who he's tied with? This man is also a pitcher. He threw a 140 pitch no hitter. He retired maybe 8 years ago. Anybody in chat know who I'm talking about?
It wasn't Matt Moore, right?
No.
Matt Moore threw a no-hitter with a lot of pitches, didn't he?
I think he did. AJ Burnett threw 140 pitch no-hitter and 8 walks against the Padres. That's one that comes to mind for some reason in my head. Steve Jones says R.A. Dickey. No. Not Robert Allen Dickey.
I don't know. I can't think of who it would be.
I believe it's Edwin Jackson. Remember Edwin Jackson? He played for every team. All right. We have 6 games, Stevie. 5 maybe. Stay tuned. We'll see how that goes. That certainly can change soon enough. And I guess we'll cover the Philadelphia-Chicago game as if it plays. But when Roth leads with red, I'll go ahead and drop this in chat as well for the people. They can read at their own leisure. Or you know what? We have the time. I can read it. Let me refresh and see if he's actually – I imagine this does not change. That is not. I'm speaking for Roth. I'm reading on Roth's behalf. My initial thought based on models this morning, probably not going to happen. Widespread rain from the afternoon through tomorrow morning. Maybe we get lucky and get a little clearing around game time and they manage to play in light rain, but I doubt it. So, Roth is speaking with a lot of confidence there. And to me, I assume it's not going to play. But we'll see. Stay tuned. But in my head, it's probably 5 games and no Chicago and no Philadelphia. All these games are in the window of 110 to 215, so kind of sort of somewhat a sprint slate. The Toronto-Baltimore game at 12:35, both sites, both DK and FanDuel, they cooperated. They did not include Barrios versus Kramer, so this we start at 110. Overview, Stevie, give me your thoughts as far as a screenshot when it comes to this slate. No team has a 5 total. Or higher. I think Kansas City is the closest. They're close. They're close to 5. But, obviously not a great ballpark either there in Kansas City to hit baseballs. But, nothing great offensively. Nothing great pitching-wise. I mean, we got to put some lipstick on a pig as far as this slate. Unless you feel otherwise. I don't really have a lot of angles that I love in this slate. But this is the kind of slate where I'm happy to be the host and just ask questions. Because I don't have a lot of great answers. Can you play this guy? Yeah, you can play this guy. This is the old blender, play whoever you want. Bregman, by the way, was supposed to be in the Boston lineup. At least he was at one point. Bregman was scratched, so that Red Sox lineup got worse. And also Zebby Matthews is throwing baseballs for Minnesota, in case you missed that. Earlier, it seemed like it was going to be what was the early speculation? And not Zebby, but
Bailey Ober.
Yeah, that's right, which would have been more appealing for the hitters there for Boston. Zebby has the biggest K rate on this slate, 30.6%. Gore right behind him. But the issue with Gore is he's just kind of tumbled after a furious start the season. His Ks have gone down, the walks have gone up, but he's facing a Houston team that is still, pretty injured. It's, at some point we're going to get Yordan eventually. That's what we're told. Pena is supposed to come back pretty soon here for the Astros, but as things stand right now for Houston, it's a lot of AAA guys, right? AAA-ish, and Hummel and Matthews. McCormick's kind of a quad A guy. DeBone, not necessarily. I guess he's a major league player, I suppose. Zach Short, not much of a stick there either. Maybe it's a good bounce back spot for Gore, but he's been kind of tumbling of late. But we got a roster 2 of these guys on DK. I'm curious what your screenshot is of this slate here, because I'm not finding a ton of angles that I love.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a interesting slate. Like you mentioned last night when I was doing my research, I thought it was going to be a 6-game slate, and it was like, all right, well, I think that Philly-Chicago game has a lot of potential for bats. Well, now that we're kind of crossing that game off, we're taking away some of the value bats that we had too, because, I mean, the White Sox had some cheap power, some of the recent call-ups that they had in that lineup. So hate that for just, that kind of purposes. But, yeah, I mean, I think there's still a couple spots that I like bats-wise, and I think that we have a handful of pitchers that could go either way. I mean, Peralta, he's very talented. He gets a really tough matchup against the Cubs. That lineup is very good. So he's probably my 4th favorite in that range. Gore, like you mentioned, he struggled recently, but the Houston lineup is atrociously bad with the injuries that they have. No Paredes, no Pena. That lineup just is kind of a shell of what that lineup has the potential to be. So I think Gore, ceiling wise, is my favorite ceiling pitcher on the slate. And like you said, you are worried a little bit about recent pitching. And like, if you look on lineup page or plate IQ, you're going to see a lot of green for Houston, but it's a lot of small sample sizes because a lot of these guys are just, getting called up or getting moved into lineups because guys have been out. So like the potential for Gore at pitcher. I think Shota, like, he just probably goes out and pitches a quality start. This Milwaukee lineup, I think they're 26th in ISO against left-handed pitching this season. They don't strike out a ton. They don't have a lot of power. If he can win the BABIP game, I mean, I think that he has a good chance to pitch like 5-6 strong innings here. Good bounce back potential spot for him. And then the other pitcher that I like upside-wise is going back to that Boston game here with Zebby Matthews. Like, he's sitting at 30.5%. Everything that we've seen so far is he's got some really good strikeout potential. Like you mentioned, Bregman not in the lineup now, which takes out one of those bats that you're always worried about. Low strikeout power bat for the Red Sox. So when you're getting, like, we got Wong in there today, Yoshida, like there's plenty of potential here for Zebby Matthews. And then Brian Bayo on the other side of this game, low strikeout guy, does a good job of limiting power, getting ground balls. So if Brian Bayo could win the BABIP game today, he could have a decent game. So, I mean, I think pitching is okay, but I don't think it's like, there's not like a cheap pitcher that I like today. We always looking for those like cheap pitcher, but like, yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd go lower than like Bayu on DraftKings. I haven't looked at FanDuel pricing. I'm only playing on DK this morning.
Let's see. Debut here for Paddock for Detroit. He's 6'5". I'm not running 150, but I think he's in the pool if you're running 150. Probably not in on Gusto, but that Washington team's not terribly imposing. He got hammered pretty good his first start back from the IL. You mentioned Imanaga, like, can he win the BABIP game? That's been his MO the entire season. His BABIP in the season is 222, which is completely goofy. I talked about this his last start when he faced the White Sox. The regression monster finally came knocking for him, but 3.12 ERA. He's got the highest SIERA on the slate, 4.79 SIERA. But like he's been getting away with it all season long. His left on base at 86.5% as well. 10.7% homer to fly ball, a little bit lucky too, probably, especially when you consider that home ballpark. But yeah, the lob at 86% and the BABIP at 222. And I thought his Ks were higher than 17.6%. It was kind of alarming. In my head, he's like a 20% strikeout guy at least. Biggest K guy we mentioned is Zebby on the slate. In Gore, I wanted to pull up, you were talking about plate IQ with Gore. It is funny because I've dug into Houston as well against lefties, although Gore is kind of a reverse splitzer pitcher, so do with that what you will. And it is a lot of small sample stuff, but the current active roster of Houston, they're fourth in baseball against WOBA. They're fifth in WRC plus against, this is specific against lefties. They're third in ISO. But again, the other interesting thing is we're talking about 508 at bats, as opposed to the other sample sizes are like 1,000, 1,100. And I think it's kind of fraudulent, like you suggested, that it's a little bit misleading. They're probably going to fall back collectively against lefties. I did want to see Gore last 30 days. And that's, you pulled it up on Plate IQ, Stevie. Last 30 days for Gore. We talked about him being dicey of late. Last 30 days, 16.3% walks, 17.4% Ks. That is, I mean, when the K rate and the walk rate are basically the same, it's smaller samples, but like this has kind of been his pattern this season where he's just sort of fallen back. Not great. 19.7% walks versus righties. Again, it's sort of small sample-ish, right? 66 at bats. The WOBA at 347 is brutal. 174 ISO is not great. But then this Houston lineup, we think it's kind of sort of somewhat fraudulent. And the reason why I want to focus on him is because he's going to be one of the most popular pitchers on the board. 44% currently right now in DK. Peralta at 50%. Tough matchup against Chicago, but one of the best arms, just betting on arm talent. And he probably doesn't get his face fully punched in, even if he struggles a little bit. Gore, by the way, for what we have as far as ownership stuff, we have at 49% on FanDuel because the difference in price, 9-1 for Gore. Peralta a little bit more tougher matchup, 9-5. I would say if that is anywhere near accurate, Stevie, on FanDuel, where Gore is 49% and Peralta is 8%, I would absolutely make sure to get over on Peralta. It's not hard to get over 8%. And Bayo in the middle, 21, 12% for Gusto. I think Peralta, if he's anywhere near 8% on FanDuel, I think that's something you absolutely want to get over on. Like get at least 20 if you're running a bunch of lineups. That's kind of where I'm at. He's got the potential to at least put up a big boy score, and not a lot of these guys do. Again, if you guys are joining us late, Hauser was scratched. Well, you know what? The entire team might get scratched. But yeah, Hauser. Wait, is he scratched or we just have an opener? Because I'm seeing Tyler Alexander is going to start for Chicago. He's just an opener, right? Would Hauser come behind him? Do we care? Is that game going to play? Probably not. But they did announce that Tyler Alexander is going to start for Chicago. By the way, you sitting down, Stevie? Austin Slater traded to the Yankees.
I saw that right before we started.
Oh, you didn't even react to it. Oh, so okay. Is a Hauser getting traded? Is that what's happening? Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. TJ's telling me in chat. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, the Hug Watch thing going on. Anticipation of a deal. Okay, thank you. I did not see that part, but again, we don't think anybody. Kevin Roth is telling us it seems unlikely that anybody's throwing baseballs today for Chicago, but it's definitely not going to be Adrian Hauser. All right. Who's trading for Adrian Hauser? I don't know. I was going to say the Braves, but they're just going to give up, right? It's over. And the Braves just looking for guys to eat innings. They traded for Eric Fetty, but now Acuna going on the IL. 2 to 3 weeks, they're saying, but that's probably optimism. And would he play even the last month of the season if they're just a dead team? Why would they push him?
Has so much talent, and they just cannot avoid injuries. I mean, it's kind of like the Yankees for the last 5 years. They've had so much talent, and they just can't avoid injuries.
Yeah. And then they had like Albies regress and Harris regress. Ozuna probably gets traded with his hip. He's actually hit a couple homers of late, so maybe he's trying to show that he can still kind of sort of somewhat do it to some degree. Is Robert? Oh, we didn't get a Chicago lineup. They're talking about Luis Robert, who probably gets traded. I would assume he gets traded. Some team's going to make a move for him, I imagine. His trade value over the years has dwindled, but I would expect him to probably move as well. All right. So hypothetically, well, what you run 3 teams? You tend to run 3 teams, right, Stevie?
Yeah, I typically run 3 teams. Yeah.
All right. Is that what we're doing today?
Yeah.
Okay. So 3 teams. What is your pitcher pool? Ideally, these are the only pitchers you're going to use on DraftKings if you're running 3 teams today. Anybody you run in all 3 lineups?
No. So I have Gore in 2, Shota in 2, and I think Matthews in 2. Hold on, I'm looking. Yeah, that'll
be it, right?
Yep.
2. Yeah.
Just those 3.
Okay. So no Freddie.
No, I mean, okay. Peralta, I think, like I said earlier, I think Peralta is perfectly fine. I don't know. He's 50%, and like he's projected for a lot of ownership on DraftKings, and the Cubs are really good. They only have like I think 2 or 3 hitters with strikeout rates over 20% against right-handed pitching, and Peralta's been really good here lately. But man, there's just so many good hitters in this lineup that I don't know. This isn't the spot I want to be overweight on a Freddie Peralta with his projected ownership.
Yeah, I just, I'm going to have some. It's also because I think the overall, we have 10 pitchers, possibly 12, but more likely 10. And amongst those 10, we're talking about like Joey Wentz and Zerpa, and whatever nonsense Chicago's.
You're not even necessarily chasing like 30 points from Freddie Peralta today.
No,
like you're chasing like 20 to 25, and you'd be super happy with the pitching slate that we have. But I mean, he could easily put up 15 here and not be relevant in tournaments because of price.
Yeah. How many lineups would you have to make to get to somebody like Bayo?
I think he almost made my third build. So like I think he's very close to a 3-inch max build for me. 20-inch max 150. I definitely, if I was playing like 20 to 150, my pitcher pool would be Peralta, Gore, Shota, Matthews, Bayo, maybe Joey Wentz. Like if I'm playing 150, he might crack the like build. He has
Wentz
a good umpire. I prefer Wentz. You're gonna hear a lot of what Washington love from me against Gusto today. Just to kind of, spoiler alert, throw ahead to next part of the show when we get into talking these like tiers and stacks and stuff. Washington's very high on my list today.
I'm not sure if you know this, Stevie, but James Wood is cold.
That's okay. I know. I realized that James Wood was cold, like ice cold, when I went on the Hard Rock app and bet his total bases today.
You're getting a pretty good number? Because I'm in the same
I think
state.
It was like plus 145 for 1.5.
Wow, that's a really good number.
Yeah, so sometimes you take advantage of it, and it doesn't always work out. But I forget. I'm pulling it up on my app, but I think that's what I bet him at this morning.
3Ks, 4Ks, 3Ks, 3Ks his last 4 games. He has not hit a home run since the 9th. So about 3 weeks ago.
So all you're saying is he's due. That's all you're saying.
I mean, look, I'm not a big, players are streaky. He's also 22, right? He's still really, really young. He's not a complete project. Obviously, the tools are insane. And, if you're in a dynasty league, we're not talking, we're not caring. We're talking about career. We're talking about today and today only. But if he's not going to be played in a smaller slate as well, I'm interested. By the way, Suarez is in the lineup for Arizona. Do you know Suarez? He got hit in the hand the other day. Some concern about that. Of course, he's probably the biggest piece that will likely get traded during the deadline. That's the thought process here. He got hit the other day, but he's good to go here to take on Chris Paddock. Arizona lineup is out. Carroll, Marte, Perdomo, Suarez, Gurriel, Del Castillo, English, Alexander, and Barossa. Chat says Dean hates Wood. No, I think Wood's awesome. I think James Wood's great. I would, I besmirching? I'm a big fan. I think he's spectacular. I love the combination of him and the Abrams.
I feel like that was supposed to be a joke.
Oh, yeah. Maybe.
It went way over your head.
I guess that's what happened there. Chicago did release a lineup. If they're going to play baseball today, it's Tauchman, Mydroth, Benintendi, Vargas, Teal, Roberts in the lineup, Montgomery, Caro, and Rojas. So we're getting most of the lineups. Let's see. We don't have Milwaukee or Chicago or Washington. We got everything else. Let's see. Anything goofy for Atlanta? I don't think so. All right, Profar, Olsen, Riley, Harris. Well, no Acuna. Ozuna, Albies, Murphy, White, and Allen. I'm like, Michael Harris is hitting the 9-hole this year, and now he's jumped up to the 4 spot. That just means he's going to get out faster. I kind of like I want him to be better. He was really, really promising, and he's definitely taking a big step back this year. And a lot of his advanced stuff to back it up. Still, he's 23, 24 years old, and they signed him long-term, so they're going to be committed to make him happen in Atlanta. Anything else as far as pitching that you want to focus on that you think is worth pointing out? Any big stands as far as over and under? You kind of made it be known who you're rolling with in your 3 main lineups.
Yeah, I mean, again, like if you're playing 150, I mentioned Wentz. You mentioned Gusto. I think you could potentially take some shots on Gusto. He is an average strikeout pitcher, which says a lot about this slate. Yeah, I mean, with the expectation of Philadelphia, Chicago kind of getting rained out, I think that's where you're at. I don't think we have to spend a ton of time on pitching. I don't want to play Paddock against Arizona. I don't want to play Nelson against Detroit. Like he's been one of the luckiest pitchers in baseball this season, and like his advanced stats are atrociously bad. So like he eventually the luck is going to run out on Nelson. He's not going to have a 174 BABIP against lefties all year. So I don't want to play him against Detroit. So yeah, I mean, I think the pitchers that we covered are great.
Yeah. Do you believe the same thing's going to happen for Imanaga? Like a 3.12 ERA, is that's going to sustain? Again, he's got the biggest Sierra on the board. We talked about his left on base being lucky, his BABIP being lucky. Also, huge fly ball guy. He's kind of at the mercy of the home run to fly ball gods, and been a little bit lucky there, 10.7%. I think it's a little bit less than league average.
The thing about Shota that's interesting is like we see these kind of like numbers typically on like sinker splitter guys, and like he throws they say like his fastball is considered a fastball, but it kind of has like sinking motion and from his arm slot, and then like he's a fastball splitter guy, and his fastball is kind of like sinker type of motion because of his arm slot, and he throws a lot of splitters. So like I don't think anybody with a BABIP under like 200, 225 is sustainable long term. So to answer your question, no, I don't think it's sustainable. But like Ryan Nelson throws his fastball 65% of the time, and it's not a good fastball. Like if you go on Baseball Savant, you start digging into his fastball, it's not a good fastball. So I think that's the difference in like that type of situation. Like you could pick apart any type of situation on any pitcher and try to figure out the numbers, but I think the biggest difference between like Shota and Ryan Nelson is like Shota does have a splitter, and like splitters can generate a lot more fly balls that are like softer fly balls, and that's what we kind of see with him. And like he has that sinking type of fastball with his arm slot, where Ryan Nelson just throws fastballs. I mean, he throws a 96 mile an hour fastball, and he just throws fastballs. And if you start looking at like his X slugging, his X WOBA, and that kind of stuff on his fastball, like he needs a secondary pitch. Like he kind of throws like sliders and cutters, but like nothing more than like 15%. So like Ryan Nelson potential there, he just needs to develop develop that slider or cutter or curveball and get off his fastball 65% of the time.
Who was that? Was that Marco Estrada, who always like seemed like to pitch better than his metrics? Like his fly ball stuff, a lot of it just like wasn't very deep. He did a really good job inducing pop-ups. Just kind of the way you described that. I was thinking, remember Marco Estrada for Toronto?
Yeah, there's another guy that I can't remember off the top of my head. When you like start digging into his stats, you're like, this guy should be awful, and he's not. And like, yeah. So just, I mean, we see it a little bit with Patrick Corbin this year. Like we're so used to like picking on Patrick Corbin, but he's
at a resurgence.
Yeah, I mean, he's changed his pitch mix. His pitches are way different, like pitch wise. So, that's just people get better, people get worse. You have to adjust, and you can look at large sample sizes, or you can look at small sample sizes, or you can look at facts. And the facts are like typically a lot of facts relay and like where the pitch data is. Like Baseball Savant has been a godsend to anybody that likes analytics.
Yeah, I like to dig in there. And like I like their if you don't really want to fully dig in, just look at their chart stuff, like percentiles, just really simplifying it, making things really easy for you. Zebby, I don't think we talked about enough as far as Zebby. Like speaking of small samples, 37.7% Ks versus lefties this season, just 61 at bats. His issue sometimes is pitch count. Maybe we're getting 80, 85 or so. That's probably enough on this slate. We mentioned there's no Bregman. Just kind of looking at this this Boston lineup today. Anthony Toro, Duran, Story, Abreu, Gonzalez, Yoshida, Rafaela, and Wong. A little bit of power there, but it's not the most imposing lineup. And out of Fenway as well, seems like a bit of a downgrade. 20.8% collectively for strikeouts. We're going to get enough pitches from Zebby, right, to make it worth our while. You kind of mentioned he's one of your featured pitchers, and just thought we didn't really talk about him, just so like we like him. But yeah, the Ks are really good. I don't know if those splits are real, because look at last season. They're different. 26.7% versus righties, 22% versus lefties. It's kind of flipped this year with more Ks versus lefties.
It kind of goes back to what we were just talking about, right? Like you can look at larger sample sizes, you can look at smaller sample sizes, but the facts are last year his fastball was averaging 94.9. His fastball this year is 96.7. Like that's almost 2 miles an hour difference. You start looking at the whiff rate, it's 6% higher. You look at the xWOBA, it's better. Like you just have to like start looking into this stuff. The thing about Zebby Matthews, and I know Cheese talks about this too, because him and I both like this kind of stuff, but he has an elite slider. Like, he has a elite slider. If you look at leaderboard for like certain pitches, he has a 41.7% whiff rate on his slider, and he throws it 30% of the time. It's one of the best pitches in baseball this year. So small sample size, but even going back to last year, his slider had a 37.6% whiff rate. He's throwing his slider faster. Overall, Zebby Matthews is throwing harder this year, which is always going to kind of increase, whiffs and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's just, back to that conversation. Somebody in chat said I'm getting all technical. I love pitching. I love pitching data. I used to pitch. I love this kind of stuff. I like hitting too, but I mean, I get excited about talking about pitching.
This is also the slate to get technical on, because we're 5, maybe 6, but probably more likely 5 games in an hour and 50 minutes. So we actually have some time. A lot of times, like we're rushing through a 13-game slate and just kind of giving the TLDR. We can actually kind of dig in on certain things. Again, if you're joining us late, giving away a week free of RG Premium in the Discord channel. Just hit the avatar. Producer Steve has his post. It says Wheel Wednesday. We're going to spin the wheel after we do today's tier board. Crunch time coming on in about 35, 40 minutes or so. 35 minutes. Erik Beimfohr, I think it's Derek Carty, as well as Chief Mineralogist Kevin Roth. Hit that wheel. Avatar will spin it. We get 100 likes. 100 likes. It's a big ask here on a Wednesday afternoon. Not even afternoon just yet, right? Almost noon. 11:40 here on the East Coast. We'll give away 2 individual weeks free for RG Premium: football, baseball, basketball, hockey, MMA, PGA, WNBA. I know not all those sports are in season, but that's how I remember it in my head. Not the best time to win it, I suppose, but it's better than nothing. Okay. Somebody just tuned in, Stevie. They just tuned in right now. They said, I don't want to watch the first 40 minutes. Give them the summary. Give them the summary as far as how you're approaching pitching today.
Well, we appreciate you being here. Make sure you hit the like button. That is always really important. So do that. It's a free show. I got up early to hang out with you all, and I don't like getting up early. So, I mean, pitchers: Peralta, Gore, Shota, Matthews, Bayo would be the 5 that I'd be really focused on multiple builds. My favorites are Gore, Shota, Matthews, but I mean, I can understand why you would play Peralta and Bayo today. I think that is kind of the pitcher breakdown. So, yeah.
See, producer Steve dropped this in chat. Realmuto removed from the lineup trade. I don't think he's getting traded. Maybe I missed. I think it's just a day game after a night. You say removed. Was he actually in the lineup and then taken out, or he was just never in? I don't think he was ever in, but maybe I missed something. We have, it's day game after a night game, and Marchand is doing the catching. And again, that game probably doesn't even play.
Yeah, Taiwan Walker was projected to be in the lineup, but he's not. That's all. He wasn't ever in the lineup.
That's the way I saw it. Also, by the way, you can get yourself scores and odds. So SAO, if you prefer, if you win yourself Wheel Wednesday, you can get yourself some scores and odds premium. If you do not want RG Premium, okay. Let's go ahead and talk about today's tiers. We're going to throw some teams in some tiers. I was trying to figure out today's tier board. One of the first places I look, if I don't have an idea immediately, it's like, whose birthday is it today? And we do have some celebrity birthdays we can kind of build a tier board around. And it is today's 78th birthday for Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's 78 years old for him, and he's got a big collection of movies. So I did power rank Arnold.
I haven't seen the list yet. Can I guess?
Please, by all means. Yeah, this is I want the chat to play along as well too. And you know what? I think I did and I'm not the biggest action movie guy. I'll just throw that out there. But I think I did a pretty good job with the board, if I may say so myself. And you know how it works. 1 is the elites, 2 is really good, 3 in the middle, 4 not great, 5 terrible. It's not like here's the 3 or 4 best movies. That's not how we do it, obviously. But fire away. Tell me what you would put if you were to build this board.
Well, I think number 1 has to be the Terminator. I'd be shocked if you don't have the Terminator as number 1. It's going to discredit your list very fast if you don't have it as number 1. By the look of your face, you might not have it, and then we're going to have conversations.
I don't not have it, but I also don't have it. But you can see what I'm saying when I'm saying that, I think.
Oh, gosh. All right. Well, just show me the board now, because I don't care about if that is not the number. Terminator round 2. Oh, God.
Terminator 2. It's one of the rare sequels that's better than the original. The sequel's better than the original. It just is. I mean, so you think Terminator is better than the sequel? I think that's incorrect. I feel like that's wrong. So I have it, but I have the better one. No, right. You take issue?
I think the original is better, but hey, I mean, that's good. Let's see, True Lies, that's good. Kindergarten Cop is funny. Batman and Robin, is that the one where he's like Mr. Freeze?
Yeah, everybody chill. It's so bad. That's one of his lines. It's
so
fun.
I'm glad you put that one on there. I mean, I think that he has a couple like Expendables movies are pretty bad.
He's those like ensembles with basically all the action guys. Like got Van Damme's in it.
There's a movie that I watched when I was like younger that my dad liked, and I thought it was awful. I think it's like Scavenger Hunt or something. He's in it.
Running Man. Yeah. I don't know if Scavenger Hunt. Running Man is something that was considered. Total Recall was considered. You want to take pre-show?
Chat got it. Predator. Yeah, I'm with you, chat. I was shocked that Dean didn't have Predator on here. Well, looking at your list, though,
it's only 5 movies.
No, I know. Looking at your list, I'd probably put Predator like
3.
Yeah, probably 3. Like, I think True Lies is a really solid movie.
It's a lot of fun. It's actually a lot of fun. I watched it for the first time like a year ago because I don't really
very long though, right? It's one of those older movies that's like
it's like 2.5 hours. I think
it's like 30 minutes too long. So
it's preposterous, but it's fun.
No action hero. What is that?
Last Action Hero.
I don't know if I've ever seen that one.
It was a box office bomb, but I think in retrospect, it probably just was a little bit misunderstood.
All right.
But it didn't do well in the theaters. You mentioned Predator. We were talking about this pre-show. We were talking about Happy Gilmore. And in Predator, of course, is Carl Weathers. Carl Weathers, I believe famously, in both in the same movie, right? In both Predator and in Happy Gilmore, spoiler alert, he loses his hand. Like he loses his hand in both movies, right? But of course, he's not in the sequel. Happy Gilmore, unfortunately. Carl Weathers was unavailable to be in the sequel, but you did mention that you watched Happy Gilmore 2, and I think you're an Adam Sandler guy, so I was curious to get your take. Did you want to were you enthused? Were you happy about the Happy Gilmore 2?
I think you just kind of have to. Okay, I am an Adam Sandler guy. We've talked about this before, you and I. Nothing was ever going to be as good as Happy Gilmore 1. I just want to say that, like Happy Gilmore, the original, amazing movie. I thought they did really good with Happy Gilmore 2. I thought it was exactly what they were kind of shooting for. It's not a serious movie. It's super funny. They have a ton of cameos, and they tried to, it seemed like when they made Happy Gilmore 2, they just tried to have fun with the whole concept of the movie. And I thought it's exactly what happened. So yeah, I mean, I liked Happy Gilmore 2. I thought it was funny. Like it was just, it was exactly like, hey, my friends and I are going to hang out and watch Happy Gilmore 2 and have a good time. And that's kind of what the movie was. Just them having a good time.
I just thought it was weird, like people getting angry about it. And it's like, dude, what did you expect, man? This is like you said, it's a fun movie. You know, don't take it too seriously. You didn't know it was coming anyway. Nobody asked for it. Nobody said, you know what we need is we need another Happy Gilmore. And it's just, they're going to give, okay, I guess I'll watch it. It's fun. For what it is, it's fine. But like everybody's got the hottest take in the world. Like, it's the worst movie I've ever seen. And it's like, you know, if that's, I don't know what you were expecting. Have you seen Happy Gilmore? It's just sort of like you said, just some mindless fun. Turn your brain off. It's one of those movies that I'll watch with while doing some work. That's one of those movies I'll watch.
Oh, I mean, I've watched it twice already. So I watched it once with my wife, and then I watched it working like the night after. And I mean, again, like I thought it was exactly what it needed to be. It was just laid back, funny. We did it. I thought didn't we do an Adam Sandler movie?
You did.
List?
I believe you did a couple shows ago. I have people say I'm a kind of a movie snob, but I think it's fine. It's fine. You know, TJ in chat, by the way, the streets are saying that the Naked Gun movie is amazing. I love the Naked Gun series, and I'm looking forward to the new Naked Gun because that's we have not had a slapstick comedy, I feel like, in a long, long time. But I'm curious to see. Like, critics are loving it. I don't know. Are you a Naked Gun guy? Did you watch the old Naked Guns with Leslie Nielsen? Are you aware of that series?
I'm not a Naked Gun person, no.
Airplane, also no airplane for you?
No.
Yeah. Too slapsticky for you? That's fine. All right. So that is our board. Apologies to Junior, I almost considered, because that was pretty terrible, right? There's some bad Arnold movies. And I know some people love Jingle All the Way, but that did not do it for me. I also saw it as an adult, so maybe not seeing it as a kid might have something to do with it. But some people are big fans of that Jingle All the Way with Sinbad, and I don't know who can defend. Even George Clooney came out and apologized for Batman and Robin and said, "Yeah, my bad. That stunk. It wasn't very good." Okay, let's throw some teams into some tiers. The first one we're going to talk about, it's the Red Sox, your Boston Red Sox against the Minnesota Twins, 8 total. Brian Bayo versus Zebby Matthews. Zebby is a slight favorite. We saw Correa leave the game last night. He's not starting today for Minnesota. Not terribly surprising. Bregman, we mentioned earlier, not in the Boston lineup, was scratched. Yeah, we're looking for some offense here. We talked about liking Zebby a good bit. Bayo keeps the ball on the ground. Twins, Red Sox, where are they throwing? Where are you going to throw them on the board?
I think they're both in the Jingle All the Way. I could see like pieces or two in both of these spots. Starting with Minnesota, I think that a guy like Clemens, who's kind of come out of nowhere this year with some power, he's a fly ball hitter. So facing a guy like Bayo who throws a lot of sinkers and like tries to generate ground balls, like you mentioned, this is the type of spot that you could see a guy like Clemens do really well. Like, we don't have a large sample size on Clemens versus sinkers, but he has a lot of power. The other person that I wanted to mention on the Twins is Royce Lewis. He has 64 balls in play against sinkers since the start of last season against right-handed pitching. It's a 281 ISO with a 400 WOBA in that period. So both of those guys I think are fine. I mean, you could potentially take some shots on like Wallner, because Wallner is a big strikeout guy. Bayo is a really low strikeout pitcher. So anytime you're going to get Wallner getting the ball in play, you can take shots. But stack-wise, probably not. One-off power is what I'd be chasing. And on the Red Sox side, like, Matthews has done a really good job limiting power to both sides. Gives up a lot of barrels to lefties. So, like, if you want to take shots on, like, Abreu, Duran, or Anthony, I think you could. Stacks, I just don't see stacking either one of these teams. I think you're just kind of chasing some one-off power on both sides if you need one-offs.
So both teams in the tier 4, Jingle All the Way. Stevie, as a Boston fan, what are you rooting for? Do you care? It felt like a lost season, but now I guess not so much. Fangraphs is saying there's a 55% chance y'all make the playoffs. Of course, you traded Devers earlier. I saw some rumors potentially about Duran. What are they doing? Are they buying? Are they selling? Are they staying put? What do you want them to do? What are you expecting in the next day or two?
Yeah, I mean, I've said this on the morning grind. I like the Devers trade. I think that it was more of a clubhouse thing than anything else, and we have a lot of young talent. The Red Sox have, like, I think they traded Teal, but they had 3 of the top 10 prospects in baseball last year. So I like the potential here with Marcelo and Anthony. I don't think they'd get rid of Duran. They just signed. It sounds like they're going to sign Bregman to a good deal. So, I'm all in for trying to make the playoffs because, where they're at right now as an organization, they're not really rebuilding. So, I just think that if they are going to make a push for the playoffs, they need to do something with another pitcher or two, if they can. If they're buying, they should try to get a pitcher or two.
Yeah, they got 2 more years of arbitration for Duran, free agent. He's kind of sneaky old, right? He's 28. I thought he was a little bit younger than that. Actually, they got 3 more years, so they have some control there. I
was gonna say they're not. I saw the rumors about them trading him too, and I was like, "Have you
Keller,
looked at his?"
was it?
Yeah, I was like, "Have you looked at his deal? They're not going to get rid of him. Why would they get rid of him?"
And also, what would Pittsburgh do with him? He would just rot there. The Pirates are not going to be good in 3 years. They're are they? They don't seem any interest in getting any better. And in 3 years, I just didn't understand it. I don't know what Pittsburgh's doing though. I can't quite figure them out. And using logic to try to figure them out probably is the bad place to start. Okay, Arizona and Detroit. Chris Paddock making his debut here for Detroit. Detroit did trade for him. Didn't have to give up a lot. Just needed somebody to eat some innings here. Ryan Nelson, you kind of talked about him earlier. On the other side there for Arizona, Detroit is the slight favorite. Almost a 5 total here versus Nelson. We did mention that Suarez, probably the prize piece here in the trade deadline. We're assuming he's going to move at some point. Arizona doing a full sell-off. No half measures for the D-backs. Where do you have Detroit and the Diamondbacks?
Yeah, I mean, I like both of these teams today. I think both of these spots are good. Like I said, I don't think Ryan Nelson can continue to get this lucky. Detroit just feel like they've kind of just done it right. They've rebuilt this team. They have a lot of upside. So looking at the Detroit side first, I'd put them in True Lies. I think they're a very stackable offense. Colt Keith hitting leadoff is nice because he's cheap at a third base position that, is kind of weak today. I mean, you could pay up for Suarez on the other side and you could pay up for Riley, but if you're not paying up for those two guys, or Garcia, but I kind of consider Garcia a shortstop too. So I like Detroit a lot. I think this is a very stackable offense. Kerry Carpenter, Riley Green, two of my favorite hitters on the slate. And then I'm going to put Arizona in the True Lies tier as well. I think that Paddock is a below-average strikeout pitcher. He struggles with power to both sides of the plate. The top half of this lineup is very stackable. Carroll, Marte, Perdomo, Suarez just crushing the baseball against everybody this year. Gary L. and then Dela Castillo catching. He's cheap, batting 6. So he looks like he's cheap. So the bottom half of the lineup is all really small sample sizes because of some injuries and because of calling some hitters up. So you're going to get a lot of cheap bats in the bottom half. I'd build around Carroll and Marte Suarez, like those three in my 5-man stacks, and just kind of fill in however your lineups kind of build out. But they're so cheap that it makes it a lot. So I like the potential for this game a lot, runs-wise, and I think this is a game you want to take bats from.
How concerned are you, if at all, about getting hug-watched? Like, what are the odds that Suarez gets traded mid-game? We've seen it before, but it doesn't happen very often. You just play him, right?
I think you play him today. Yeah. I think that with it being a day game is a little bit more likely that he plays the whole game. I feel like this might be the last time you play him in the Arizona lineup, for what it's worth.
I didn't see if they play tomorrow or not. Most teams are not, so this might be their last game. Maybe he's got to show that he can hit the baseball after getting hit on the hand, but I think X-rays were negative, so not terribly concerning. Erik in chat saying Chicago radar looks horrible. Don't see how they play that game. Yeah, I mean, Roth, if you're joining us late, and Roth will be on it a little bit, Roth is telling us red-orange, which when he leads with red, it doesn't look very optimistic. Seems likely that game gets the hook. That game gets the boot off the slate, but as of right now, it's not yet been 86th. Okay. Chicago, Milwaukee. No lineups just yet here. Imanaga versus Peralta, two of the better pitchers. I think Milwaukee's gotten the better of the Cubs all series long. Big rivals here, taking on each other. Andrew Vaughn, you're talking about the power from Milwaukee. Andrew Vaughn, by God, that's Andrew Vaughn's music. He's been flashing some power of late. He's still really, really cheap. If you're looking for a cheap source of power, I don't mind him. Even as like a la carte piece, as kind of a one-off, just to kind of save some salary. But where do you have Milwaukee and Chicago? Not a lot of runs expected here, according to Vegas. Both teams team total under 4, 7.5 total as of right now.
Yeah, I'd put Milwaukee in Batman and Robin. I think you talked about like the only piece that makes any kind of sense here. So yeah, if you want to play Vaughn as a one-off, go right ahead. But Trio is day-to-day. He's not likely going to be – I don't know is the lineup out for Milwaukee yet, but he's not likely going to be in the lineup today. With Hoskins on the IL, that's one of your big right-handed power bats. They're just missing some big pieces in this lineup. So I think outside of like Vaughn and Collins, like the lineup's just not going to be great. So yeah, and then the other side of this game, the Cubs. I think you put the Cubs in the kindergarten cop. I think they're one of the better contrarian stacks on this smaller slate. You look at where can you get different on a 5-game slate like this. Stack the Cubs. I mean, Freddie Peralta, very good pitcher. Not going to say anything bad about him. He's a very ground ball, fly ball neutral pitcher. At time, he can struggle with command. And the first 5 hitters in this lineup, typically, because I don't think this lineup's out either, Bush, Tucker, Suzuki, PCA, Kelly, all have power. So this could be easily one of those spots where Peralta struggles with command. You get different than a lot of the people on this 5-game slate, and you see the Cubs hang a crooked number. So, I think they're in that kindergarten cop building 20 or 150 type of lineups. Definitely get some exposure to the Cubs today.
Yeah. Surprising that both lineups are not out. 2 hours the game starts, first pitch. That's not.
Well, it's 90. I think it's like 90 minutes is when they have to have it in. So.
Oh. That's bad. That's a real thing for baseball? I've never heard that before. Okay. Oh, they always seem to be out. They tend to be. Unless they're working.
Lineups are, because lineups get exchanged with the umpires 90 minutes before the game. Unless it's changed, that's how it used to be. So, but maybe they're testing out Chiriot pregame with the hamstring to see if he could play or not. But
that's a good call. Yeah, he left last night early. That's a good point. That could have something to do with it. And they also, Ian Happ is gone, in case you missed that. They called up Belisarios. I assume he's going to be DHing, probably not catching. Does he actually catch? I think he's actually a catcher by trade, but I'm not sure if he actually catches when they call him up. He came up earlier in the season, some power there, and I looks like he's 2K. Yeah, he's a 2K catcher that may crack the lineup. We'll see how that goes down. Washington and Houston, Ryan Gusto, Mackenzie Gore. Gore was spectacular to start the season. He's kind of sputtered of late. Now he's facing a Houston lineup that's not great, although collectively in a small sample, they've hit pretty well versus left-handers. Vegas is basically giving this one a coin toss, slight favorite for Gusto. No Washington lineup just yet. We did mention James Wood has been scuffling of late, but that by no means says you can't play him. Assuming he's in the lineup, we'll see if he gets a day off. Again, no Nats lineup just yet. Should be coming out soon enough. Where do you want to throw Washington and Houston? No teams just yet. No teams hanging out with the Terminator. 0.
It's because the Terminator 2 movie is not as good as the first one.
That's a bad take.
I'm gonna put Washington in the True Lies. I'm not gonna have a Terminator team today. I don't think that there's a stellar standout offense on this slate. Kind of what you and I were talking about at the beginning of the show. It's just one of those slates where you like some stuff, but you don't really love anything. And I want to pick on Gusto. Gusto has been awful against lefties this year. 253 ISO, 415 WOBA, 60% hard contact, 14.5% barrel rate against lefties. This is the spot that a guy like Wood could get going. And they have Abrams, they have Garcia, they have Bell, they have Lowe. Didn't they recently call up Lyle? He has a little bit of pop. I think he's probably pretty cheap as well. He's 2,700.
He's projected to start, yeah.
Yeah, he's 2,700, and he has some speed too, so he can run. So, just you want to pick on him with lefties, and they should hit 6 or 7 lefties in this lineup. I was hoping we'd have it before we got to this game, but we don't have the lineup yet for Washington. But we should get six or more lefties, which is a problem for Gusto. If for some reason they don't have all these lefties in there and they go more righty, then you could probably play Gusto a little bit more because he's been really good against righties this year. 108 ISO, 286 WOBA, really solid, 18.4% strikeout to walk ratio against righties. He's just not as good against lefties. So want to put Washington in that True Lies tier. My 3 favorite offenses today, Detroit, Arizona, Washington. And then I'm going to put Houston jingle all the way. I think that you could stack this team and try to play the small sample size and hope that Gore is just not pitching well. They're really close to kindergarten cop, kind of the same thought process of putting them with the Cubs and just stacking against, popular pitchers that from time can struggle. It's just I don't believe a lot of the numbers that we're seeing. A guy like Hummel, is he really going to be this good? McCormick throughout his career has been good against lefties, but I don't know. Zach Short has a 270 ISO and 17 at bats. I don't buy that at all. Not even remotely. Christian Walker has been awful against lefties this year. I think the guys you're really kind of building around here are Altuve, Diaz, Cam Smith. If you're going to stack Cam Smith, like he's a top prospect. Like he is really good. He was one of the top prospects in the Astros organization. His power against lefties probably really close to real. So like if you're playing the Gore is going to struggle or have hiccups here, this stack is very doable. I would build around Altuve, Diaz, and Smith. And then if you're going to 5-man stack, just kind of fill in. I mean, Caratini, like this dude last season was under 100 ISO against left-handed pitching. And this year he's at like 364. So
36 at bats.
Yeah, something's gonna stop. So again, like I like the small sample sizes. I like large sample sizes. I like numbers, but I prefer Gore. But if you're not playing Gore, I mean, when he struggles, like he struggles bad. He can struggle with command and just not find the strike zone. You start getting 1 or 2 walks, and then you get a home run. You get to Gore, get Gore out of this game fast, and you get into that bullpen. And I mean, Washington does have the worst bullpen in baseball this year. So, you know, that Houston stack ceiling wise has a lot, but they have I think they have a small floor as well.
Reminder, this is basically your last chance to get in on the wheel. We can't have Steve wait until the buzzer. We're going to spin that wheel. It's new and improved. The Wheel Wednesday, we're rolling it out today for the first time in a while. No longer rigged. It's no longer rigged. All the kinks are out. There were some bugs there that was rigging it for a while. It's no longer rigged. We're going to spin it and give away a week free of RG Premium or Dealer's Choice. You can get scores and odds as well. Again, jump in that Discord channel. Basically, your last chance to do so before we spin it in about 5 minutes or so. Just click on the avatar that producer Steve has posted. It says Wheel Wednesday in caps right under it. All right. Next game we're going to talk about is the Braves and Kansas City. That's Joey Wentz versus Angel Zerpa. Hatch is the presumed long man. Wentz did go kind of deep last time, about 80 pitches or so. But yeah, no Acuna if you missed it. He's going to be out for a while, hit the IL for Atlanta. Significantly weakens that Atlanta lineup. Now with Harris in the 4-hole. You got both Allen and White in there. Sean Murphy, another Hug Watch candidate. He probably is on the move. I don't see any reason why. Both Murphy and Ozuna potentially on the move. Probably not during the game. Just sort of throwing it out there. And Caglione, if you missed it, is on the IL for Kansas City. So their lineup is not particularly good either.
You think they trade Sean Murphy?
Yeah,
Didn't
why
he
not?
just sign? I thought he just signed a long contract with them.
I could be wrong. Well, Baldwin, I think, is their catcher of the future, right? I thought Murphy's there.
But Murphy could DH or something. I mean, I think Ozuna's deal is done this year, isn't it? Like,
he's gone.
Deal makes
he's got to be gone.
Yeah, I mean, but he has a no trade clause too, doesn't he? I thought. So he has to approve the trade or something. But I don't think they trade Murphy. I could
right.
be like,
I thought he was. Yeah, he's got a long-term deal. He's there till 2029. 6 years, 73 mil.
I don't think they trade Murphy. I think the Braves
why not?
are. Yeah, I don't think something. Yeah, but why? I mean, like, they don't really have like a strong DH. Murphy could DH for them for years, but I don't think they trade him. I do think Ozuna gets. Wouldn't that be the move though? Ozuna's deal is up. Move Murphy to the DH following years. Let Baldwin catch, and then you have Murphy to catch the like third or fourth day every once in a while, and then Ozuna DH is gone, and then like they have plenty of young outfielders. So I mean, that's just from an outside perspective looking in. I think that Murphy stays, Ozuna gets traded.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, for sure, Ozuna much more likely to move. I didn't realize Murphy was extended, has as big a contract as he does, so probably does stick around. You make a good point. So Atlanta and Kansas City, where are they going on the board?
Yeah, so I think both of these teams are in true lies. I hate bullpen games. If I like bullpen games more, I would probably put the Braves as the top stack on the slate. It's just like you mentioned, like it sounds like it'd be Hatch in the long relief role, but it's so hard to kind of guess this. Like I've been checking Twitter all morning as we've been like doing the show, and they have not called up Keuchel yet. So to answer the question from the beginning of the show, he has not been called up yet. Not saying that he won't, but the fact that the Royals lineup is out today, I don't think they can call him up and play him today. So I gotta look at I haven't looked into like baseball like rules like that in years, but yeah, I mean I think the Braves are a good stack. I think they're a better stack if if Acuna wasn't hurt, but I think that you play them today, you take shots on them against this bullpen type of game, and then Kansas City. They would be a Terminator stack if this was a righty. They are not the best team in the world against left-handed pitching this season, but they have a lot of really good pieces here. They picked up Grichuk here recently, which gives them another bat against the lefty. Bobby Witt, Garcia have been really good against lefties. So those would be the three that I'm kind of looking at for them to build around. You know, been talking about like these stacks today as like, I think all 5 of these teams are stackable, and then I think the Cubs and the Astros are stackable. The teams that like I won't have any exposure to stacks to today: Red Sox, Twins, Brewers. But yeah, I mean that's just kind of where my board is at for hitting today.
I just did a quick search, and I'm seeing that Dallas Keuchel is actually throwing baseballs today. He's throwing baseballs for the Omaha Storm Chasers. He's in the lineup today for the Omaha Storm Chasers. Michael Massey also playing baseball. Isn't Michael Massey better than some of these guys in the Royals? Drew Waters in this lineup. If you snuck in Massey and Waters, would anybody know the difference? If you snuck them in for Isbell and Tolbert and Fermin and Frazier, nobody would notice, right? I don't think so. Well. But there you go. I guess that means that he's not happening. He's in the lineup there for Omaha. And I think that's an early game.
It makes sense though. Like he threw 4 innings his last time out from what I saw. So. Maybe they stretch him out one more time. They just released Rich Hill, so maybe 5 days from now we see Keuchel.
Do we want to throw this Philadelphia and Chicago team in a tier? I was thinking we wouldn't. I don't know. What do we do with that? If it plays, sure, Philly's interesting.
I just stopped looking at this game after I read. I mean, Roth will come on and talk about it, and Crunch Time can talk about.
Unfortunately, spoiler.
Oh no, Roth.
Okay. Yeah, Roth has been. He's been late swapped out, and we got TJ coming on, and Cardi. He's not here. It's going to be the TJ and Erik Beimfohr show. They're in the bullpen. They're coming here shortly, but usage for both of them getting the big old boost.
I will say if something changes in the weather, I really like the White Sox. They're cheap. They have some power. That would be the spot. I don't mind the Phillies here either. I like the Phillies a little bit more with Hauser pitching. Like Alexander's going to come in and he's going to throw an inning or two, and then they'll have a reliever come in. I think that you can stack either one of these teams if the weather's okay. But like, I don't know. Red. Like anytime you see, anytime you see red, like you just kind of expect the game to get postponed or have a lot of delays. So like, I don't know if I've ever played DFS with Roth with a red game. Like I just stay away.
I mean, it's a small slate, and if they somehow sneak it in, like it's probably not going to be owned. I don't know. If you want to make that argument, I suppose you can. Cubs and the Nets just dropped, by the way. Wood is in the lineup if you're curious. Chicago, they did get the 2K catcher, Ballesteros, who got called up recently. Bush, Tucker, Suzuki, PCA, Kelly, Horner, Ballesteros is DHing because Kelly's doing the catching. Swanson and Shaw. I'll recap the board. I know Crunch Time's knocking on the door. 0 teams in the Terminator 2 tier. No team is worthy of a tier 1. You do like 5 teams in the second most popular, or the second tier, the most popular tier, which is True Lies. That's Detroit, Arizona, Washington, KC, Atlanta. Who's your daddy and what does he do? Kindergarten Cop is all by itself there with the Chicago Cubs. Jingle all the way. 3 teams, your Red Sox, the Twins, the Astros, and Batman and Robin. Everyone chill. It's the Milwaukee Brewers. That is your board. All right, let's do it. Let's seamlessly bring in Crunch Time. Oh, we got to spin the wheel. That's right. Thank you, Steve. For some reason, I forgot. Well, all the bugs are out. Nobody can say anything. There's no more rigging. Let's give the wheel a good spin and give away a week free of RG Premium. What? I feel like that's a name we've seen before. So like the rumors might be coming up again that the bugs, all the bugs might not be out. But shout out to Snowfighter, a week free of RG Premium, or if you want scores and odds, either one, dealer's choice. So shout out to you. I guess we did not get to 100 likes, unfortunately, on this Wednesday morning because we would spin the wheel again, but I think we just missed it. We could still hit the like button for funsies, subscribe, turn on notifications, do all those things. But let's do it. Let's seamlessly transition to crunch time. We got TJ Zwarych. You guys know TJ. He's one of the greatest DFS players in all of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. Erik Beimfohr. He's here as well. Let's do it. Crunch time right now. I was wondering why TJ was hanging out in the chat at like 8 o'clock in the morning, Saskatoon time. You got the call, TJ. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. You're going to play the role of Roth, and you're going to take a stand, right, as far as what to do with Philadelphia and Chicago. That's on you.
The stand that I have taken is I DM'd Roth and I asked him if we will be getting an update before lock. So that is as much of a stand as I'm taking.
Hell of a stand.
I hopefully as it goes right now. Obviously, it's got the red, so we don't play it. We assume it's going to be postponed. But I did send him a message just to hopefully confirm that we can get some kind of update beforehand here. Hopefully, he's just busy and not have something crazy going on right now. And so hopefully all is well. And if all is not well and he ignores us, obviously whatever he's got going on is more important. But I did message him in hopes that we can get an update.
Yeah, hope all is well with Roth for sure. TJ, you're a movie guy. You always have a take. You always like to pick my boards apart. How did I do today as far as my Arnold board? Are you an Arnold guy?
I'm not an Arnold guy, and so I'm just kind of neutral to the board.
All right. Beimfohr, what do you got?
Oh, Kindergarten Cop just immediately jumps out on any art, and that was the first thing that I got excited about. Was
have you seen it as an adult? I just don't know if it holds. I haven't seen it in forever. So I liked it.
No,
I haven't seen it forever either. Yeah.
No,
it might be terrible. Is my concern. I don't know if it is or isn't.
I would bet that it's that it's terrible. Honestly.
Yeah, I remember it fondly, but I was also a dumb kid. I didn't know what I'm watching. Whatever. I thought it was funny, but what do I know? Just throw me in front of the TV, and it entertained me back in the day, at least. But otherwise, Beimfohr, everything good?
It's wonderful. Just drafted some best ball teams right before this, leading right into some day baseball. It's a beautiful Wednesday.
What are we doing with Joe Mixon? Can we draft Joe Mixon and just not undraftable?
Absolutely undraftable. This dude was probably undraftable before. Now they're hiding everything. This dude's like, does he exist anymore? Is Joe Mixon alive? They're hiding this. And
then Chubb is dead too, right? Like what?
Yep.
They're just gonna pass the ball every down. Is that what they're gonna do?
Woody Marks season, baby. Yep. Behind the 32nd ranked offensive line. This is gonna go great for Houston.
It's not. I want to play defenses against Houston right now.
Week 1, get ready.
I don't know who they're playing, but in theory, I think defense against Houston. You haven't. I figured you would know. I figured you had the entire schedule memorized. You could tell me he was playing week 17, right?
Yeah. Week 17, we got that one memorized, but not week 1 yet. Though I'm working on it with the DFS prices are out, and it tilts me every time DraftKings releases the week 1 DFS prices because it's just everybody's so. I mean, it is. We might as well just not have salary cap in week 1.
Who's going to see? There's not going to be any injuries from now until the start of week 1. Why would you assume that?
They're already too cheap. Like the guys are like assuming everyone's healthy, they're too cheap. And then Isaiah Likely already just got hurt. Joe Mixon hurt. Right? There's going to be a million injuries. This just
I missed the Likely news.
Yeah, broken. He's got a break in his foot.
Unbelievable.
Darnell Mooney
practicing.
Mooney's hurt. Yeah, it's a mess.
He's got a shoulder. All right, Stevie. Anything else before you step aside and get out of here and make way for crunch time?
Who's got the break in the foot? I missed that.
Isaiah Likely.
Oh.
I don't like
I just drafted a team yesterday that had Goff, Laporta, ASB, and Jameson Williams, so I'm feeling pretty happy.
Go Detroit.
Lions go Burr.
Appreciate everyone. Bye.
That was easy.
Cheers.
I was Dean. We'll be on later too. There's gonna be a show later on. There's a 6-gamer, so we'll be back at 5 o'clock on the East Coast. But with that said, TJ, it is all yours.
We're a couple men down. We got no Cardi, we got no Roth, but we still have MLB crunch time here at RotoGrinders. I'll throw some analysis in there. I won't just play the role of host. I'll throw some analysis in there as well, so Erik doesn't have to, have 100% usage rate. He's still gonna have a big game. He's still gonna put up 30 shots. But he needs to be able to pass when he's double teamed at least.
MVP Russell Westbrook. We're gonna have a high usage rate, but I'm gonna get plenty of assists over to you too. Triple-double season.
Exactly. Erik Beimfohr, how you doing? How many best ball lineups have been drafted so far?
Like 700 or something like that. And I wish I was exaggerating, but last year we got to 1500. I don't think we're going to get to 1500. I'm getting older. I'm getting washed in my old age, but yeah, we'll be north of 1,000. We're in the. I'm pretty ready for week 1 already, and we got another month or so to grind out.
When the knees start hurting, back tights up, ankles start clicking, it takes about 300-400 best ball teams off of the season this year. Yeah,
exactly.
I'm at 14, so I'm catching up. I just started about a week ago, and I've got myself up to about 14, and I have a lot of Puka Nacua. It's my most drafted top tier player so far.
Me too. He's my highest owned first rounder.
There it is. Same page. That makes me feel good. It's almost as though I've been using the Spike Week rankings while I draft my teams. But the people are here for us to talk about some baseball. I did DM Roth, see if we can get any kind of update for that Philadelphia and Chicago game. As it stands right now, it's got red in the forecast, so we just ignore it. We don't play it if it has got that red. And so right now I am playing 150 lineups. I have 0 of any players in that game in my pool. Erik, it's a small slate with it's weird because we have pitching names, but we don't have really good pitching options. The names are there, but I don't feel comfortable with any of them.
That's exactly how I feel. I take some little notes for the shows, and I wrote interesting pitchers, none of them in good spots was generally my pitching outline, which is both frustrating and fun for tournaments, because I think you can kind of do whatever you want to do at pitcher. Do you want to just play the guys who are just truly the best pitchers? Well, they're also probably going to be the most owned. But another notable NFL injury. They're piling up, but I'm going to take it.
Spencer Rattler do you have, because he's supposedly
absolutely
leading the charge.
I'm not touching. I'd rather stack the Phillies White Sox game today than draft one of the Saints quarterbacks. How about that? And I also have 0 of the Phillies and White Sox game, but obviously Steve pulled up Peralta and Gore. I think are the best 2 talent-wise pitcher. We'll see, long term on Zebby Matthews. But I don't really love those spots, and I don't love. I feel okay with Freddie Peralta. If you have a team that's contrarian enough, you're not playing a bunch of chalky hitters, and maybe you don't have Gore on there. You want to play Freddie Peralta. I feel okay, but dude, attacking the Cubs is just not something that's of interest to me. I don't think I played a pitcher against the Cubs all season, right? So I don't love it. Imanaga does not appear to be. I mean, I'm not sure how good he was before anyway, but he does not appear to be kind of the level of pitcher that we saw when he was first up with the Cubs. And then are the Brewers a great spot? It's fine, but it's not. You're not excited to play somebody there. So I'm kind of, like I said, the guy I haven't mentioned is Zebby Matthews. I know the Red Sox can hit. I know they're going to toss a bunch of, they got a bunch of lefties in the lineup, talented young kids, all that fun stuff. But I'm kind of buying at a cheaper price specifically on DraftKings, $1,000 to $2,000 savings and half the ownership or less on Zebby. Is where I'm going, because I do kind of like some of the chalkier hitting spots. So he's kind of my priority actually at pitcher. I haven't quite exactly figured out what I'm doing around that, because I kind of think from a tournament perspective, Brian Bayo's maybe the second best option. He is in that same game, which I think is okay. I don't love doing it, but I think those are the 2 best combinations of pitcher talent and matchup, and then ownership as well between Matthews and Bayo. That's where I really like to go. But I'm not digging super deep at pitcher. I'm not doing Chris Paddock. You could maybe talk me into Ryan Nelson, and then I was curious on your take of, I think Joey Wentz is like an interesting, if you really want to get off the board, we have him for 83 pitches, which kind of opened my eyes when I logged in to Lineup HQ this morning. If he's going to go 80 plus, no Acuna, the Braves have kind of shut it down. Like they're ready. They're 1-2-3 Cancun out in Atlanta now with the Acuna hurt, especially. I could see playing some Joey Wentz in tournaments. I think at 6,300 and go get a bunch. You want Bobby Witt, you want Corbin Carroll and James Wood and all these different guys. I think you can go down to Wentz to do it. So he's the only kind of really off the board guy that's of interest to me.
We did just get an update from Roth on Chicago, and unfortunately, I feel like we have to make decisions now because he has lowered the risk in that game. He says he's somewhat encouraged by the lack of rain on the back end of this line. So with patience, they may be able to play ball. Also need to see if they opt for a late start or not. Starting on time would be no bueno for starting pitchers. One of them is Taijuan Walker. Who is the Chicago pitcher today? I don't think we want either of them.
No pitchers, but the bats are pretty good on both sides.
Bats on pretty good are both sides. And so Dean just said Wentz isn't throwing for against
he said throwing against because he's on Atlanta.
Yeah. Wentz is on Atlanta against Kansas City.
Ignore me. Yes.
Isn't throwing against Atlanta. Unfortunately, he was making a joke. I thought that said apparently, and I was like, wait a minute, is he not in the game anymore? There's just so much trade deadline stuff, and we were just talking about all these guys getting injured in a camp. We had Hauser get scratched, and I'm like, it's who got traded now, who's hurt now, kind of at all times here,
right?
And so I do think we have to kind of consider bats in that one because they both are in great spots on a slate where nobody really does stand out all that much. I still kind of feel like, let me backtrack a little bit to kind of get to what I'm doing for my strategy and then why I feel like I need to include them, especially in my lineups now. From a cash setting, I think if you want to play Peralta and Gore together, sure. And if you want to play Gore and Zebby Matthews together, that is totally fine as well. I don't think I'd want to use Shota, but like just kind of like two of those three is kind of what I would do for cash. Mm-hmm. In tournaments on DraftKings, I hit the X button on Peralta, Gore, and Imanaga. I am just pitching all of Zebby Matthews, who's obviously really risky, and then all of these trash pitchers below 8K. I'm pitching all of them and crossing my fingers and hoping for the best because I just don't think Peralta and Gore should be I don't think they warrant this ownership with how Gore has been playing and then Peralta for the matchup. And so I will say I have a different opinion on FanDuel where Gore is going to be crazy highly owned and Peralta is going to be single digit is what we're projecting right now. And so I think Peralta is a very good tournament play on FanDuel. On DraftKings, I think he's trash just based on that projected ownership. And so I'm not playing any Imanaga, Gore, and Peralta, just going with the cheap ones. And so what that has led me to is 46% Corbin Carroll, 41% Suarez, 34% Marte, 37% Witt. I don't know that I need to get quite that much of an individual player on a small slate like this. And so while I don't think I'm going to one-off any Philadelphia players or any Chicago players, I'll probably strictly stack all of them. I do think I'm gonna throw them into my pool just because if they play, that could end up breaking the slate, and it's probably going to be fairly low owned. Buck in chat says Peralta had 18.25 fantasy points on DK last game against the Cubs, and he won. Exactly. Like if he gets 18, if he gets 20, even if Gore and Peralta don't blow up, if they get 18 or 20, I can probably get 17, 16, 18 from two of these other guys anyways. And so all of a sudden I have much more money to spend up for bats. And so a matchup against the Cubs where it's like he played good, the Brewers played good, and he still didn't even have 20 DK points. That's fantastic. I just don't need to pay up that salary for him. I'll take shots on some of these cheap guys. Would you agree, though, that the cash pairing on DraftKings is essentially 2 of Peralta, Gore, Matthews?
Yes. I would probably play Peralta and Matthews but I haven't I don't know if but I think Matthews is very similar to Gore, like from a talent perspective. We just obviously have a smaller sample, and I also think Gore can be. I think Stevie hit on it before we came live. Like when I think cash, I'm not sure Mackenzie Gore is the name that I think of from a cash game perspective. So that's what has me leaning a little bit away from him there, though I understand he projects for the second most points.
All right, let's start diving into the stack side of things. To me, there's a lot of fine options. Philadelphia would be my top stack, assuming we knew that weather was going to be fine. I don't think there's any of these teams, though, that really stand out as the clear number one on this early slate. No,
I don't think that there is a clear number one. Yeah, Marie says rank your favorite stacks. I'm adjusting because I literally had X'd out the Phillies and the White Sox. So where do I put them in? Maybe we'll have to double back for that one. I think it's funny because I believe you said just having a boatload of the Diamondbacks. They're way up there for me. When you look at there's everything sort of coming together for the Diamondbacks for me. You do have some of the elite hitters at the top of their lineup, which of course Perdomo hitting third is most notable. I still can't believe in a lineup of Corbin Carroll, Ketel Marte, and Eugenio Suarez, Perdomo is hitting third. But nonetheless, that makes for a fun little inclusion into your stacks. But they also have those expensive spends at the top that are really good baseball players. And then they have some cheap guys at the bottom that if you need to, make some stuff work within your stacks that are talented. These are talented young players that have come up for them, right? Josh Naylor getting traded. They're selling some stuff. Suarez, I guess Suarez has a trade risk of an in-game or something. We're at that point, an in-game trade risk or something, but I'm not worrying about that right now. So you have the Adrian Del Castillo at catcher. You have Tristan English. You have these guys at the bottom that are really, really cheap that kind of pull everything together. And then you look at the ownership for the Diamondbacks and it's not near the top of this. So I think when I pull everything together, Arizona's probably my top stack. I mentioned, thank you, Dean, for correcting me, but I'm not playing either KC or the Braves. I think the Braves, with the Acuna injury now, especially, I know they're professional baseball players. They have a couple guys who can hit. It's a weird bullpenish game, but without Acuna, that lineup is kind of rough. And I really don't like playing into chalk against bullpen games because you just really never know what you're going to get from a bullpen. Obviously, they'll mix and match handedness. You don't know how many at-bats you're going to get where these guys are actually in good situations. So when it's really popular, I don't love that. And then I don't think Wentz is awful for the Braves on that side of things. And the Kansas City lineup is also not very good. So if anything, it would be Wentz for me in that game. I actually very much like the Astros against Gore. I think I'm bullish on Gore as an overall talent, but I'm also well aware that he has those games where it's walk, 3-run home run, the wheels fall off and he gives up 6 or 7 runs. It's not a great spot against the Astros as a lefty, even though we've been picking on them with right-handed pitching for much of the season. And so I put Houston pretty high up my list. And then Washington, before we get to Philly and the White Sox, Washington is near the top or at the top for me. An incredible spot. They got guys, young, awesome, high upside hitters, but speed as well. There's speed mixed in throughout this lineup that really kind of sets them apart. CJ Abrams is just absolutely running wild, and he's hitting home runs, and if he's on first, he's stealing, dude.
Abrams has been one of my favorite plays all year. No one ever wants to get Nobody
plays him over Witt and Lindor and Ellie and Gunner and like nobody ever. And I'm like, he's in that Mookie's 4K and Abrams is 5,300. People are just always playing Mookie, and he's just awesome. And from a fantasy perspective, he's just as good as anybody else. And so I know he's not going to be low owned on this slate, but he's like one of my top plays overall, as is James Wood and stuff. So Washington's definitely up there too.
Yeah, Wood been ice cold since that home run derby, but who cares? That'll change at any given moment, and it's always more fun to be on it on a day that on a small slate he's not going all that highly owned, and you can get overweight. When his price is discounted, I love that today, and so I just did my first new build with those Philadelphia players and those Chicago White Sox players in it. I did end up with 20% Schwarber, which is a little scary, but screw it. I'm going with it. I am going to play. So for what it's worth with the downgrade, I am going to play that game because apparently if Ross saying all they have to do is just like really wait a while because the rain on the back end is not that bad. Well, it's a day game. Why wouldn't they?
Right.
And so that kind of makes sense to me. I kind of hope we don't get a delay before that starts. Just knock the pitchers out of there. I don't care. And just have this turn into chaos throughout the day. But even if it's a delay, as long as they don't announce the postponement, I still think I'm going with the strategy of no one-offs from that game, just stacking it up, which makes my stack ranking. Ooh, that is not the top 3 that I expected for 5-man stacks. My top 3 ended up, and now this is basically 4 teams in the tier 1 for me, and that's Atlanta, Detroit, the Cubs, and Arizona. And I think basically the reason for the Cubs and Atlanta too is because I'm pitching all of these cheap pitchers, and so I need to spend my salary somewhere. And so Pete Crow Armstrong, Kyle Tucker, and Michael Busch all of a sudden start looking pretty good. And so I'm totally okay with that because even though I don't want to target Peralta, if he's going to be 50% owned on DK and it's the Cubs, I'm totally okay with getting there. I ended up 10% Philly stacks. I have 12% Arizona stacks up there with Chicago. Milwaukee, I'm getting to. Houston, I like a lot. I'm getting to some. I wanted more Washington and Houston than I'm getting to, but like, I guess the difference between 13 stacks and 150 lineups and 18 stacks and 150 lineups is not that big of a difference. And so I did end up only getting one 5-man White Sox stack in my 150 lineups, just because, again, I'm fading the expensive pitching, so I need to spend salary somewhere, which is why I'm getting to the Phillies as well. That's my exposure, but in terms of just who I like the best, I would say if you're comfortable with the major weather risk, Philadelphia 1. If not, I would go Arizona 1, Detroit 2, Houston 3, Washington 4. Is I think how I would rank them today.
I think that makes sense. Yeah, Philly's always tricky. They're obviously extremely talented, but they're a little top heavy from a stack perspective. Like Otto Kemp is like fine, but I don't love Bryson $4,300 Bryson Stott. Like I don't love the Brandon Marshes and the Max Keplers of the world. I know Alexander's not going to throw forever, but you're guaranteeing a lefty against those guys for at least an at bat. And then if you get another lefty out of the bullpen later, it's a little tricky. I don't worry about the lefty for Schwarber and Harper, but then it's like $5,700 Trey Turner. I know we're talking about some of the cheap pitchers that we do like, but it is a little bit trickier to stack them up than maybe, was my original thought. So I do think, as Steve says, I think that they're going to try to sneak that game in if they can. Of course, they can want to, and if the weather does take a turn, it won't matter. But I think they're going to do everything to try to sneak that in. So I'm sitting here while we're live on the show, like, okay, do I swap back and just stack that game up because people are going to run away from it? I think it puts it really muddies this slate up. What to do with that game, because it's obviously a really good spot for both sides. And I think that's kind of up to everybody. Do you want to, there's risk, right? Roth is it's what down to orange. That's not nothing, but it's far better than what it was before. So kind of up to each person. I'm still kind of leaning to like the Diamondbacks, Nationals, Astros, Tigers. Although I like the I want to toss the Brewers in there too. Maybe a little bit more of some of the one-offs can come from the Brewers, because Imanaga has not been very good. And there's some powerful Brewers. Andrew Vaughn has just been awesome, like absolutely awesome for the Brewers, and like is maybe probably my favorite first base play of the slate. And I think you can home run hunt a little bit against Imanaga. So excluding Phillies, White Sox, I think there's another, like you can stack just about everybody, but I'm still going to stick with like Arizona, Washington, Houston, Milwaukee.
So seeing that I got basically no White Sox stacks, what I did was I'm making a group of the 6 White Sox that I'm going to keep in my pool. I feel like I don't really need Cuero and Teals in there. I don't really need Rojas. And so I'm Xing a few of these guys out. But everybody that is left in my pool on the White Sox, because I'm seeing I got a lot more of them as mini stacks than full stacks, I'm going to the group section of Lineup HQ, and I'm putting play 2 to 3 of these players in every lineup that has a White Sox: Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper. And so that should give me either a full White Sox stack with a Philadelphia mini stack, or a full Philadelphia stack with a White Sox mini stack. I'm okay with playing Philadelphia in lineups that don't have White Sox. I think I only want to play White Sox in lineups that have Philadelphia, just to kind of fully stack up that game for if it plays, and have a few less of my lineups dead if it doesn't play, is kind of how I'm looking to go about that today. So I'm going to have one more build set in here before I get my official one in, but we got time because the games don't start for another 30 minutes. So I looked at that and I thought, okay, even if it takes me a while to configure this and actually make it look how I want it to look, at least we got some time into lock here.
Yep.
We do have over 100 likes, so I can drop Spidey Bomb number 1. I'll drop the second one at 125 likes, third one at 150 likes. So keep hitting that like button. It's for some of us here, early morning crunch time, and for those on the East Coast, early afternoon, but nonetheless, it's free content. And so hit that like button for us. We will go and take some questions first from the RotoGrinders Discord, then from the YouTube chat once we go through position by position. But if you want some Spidey Bomb, some home run picks, you got to be hitting that like button. First one, plus 450. It is Riley Green for Spidey Bomb number 1. I do like Detroit today, even more as a mini stack with like Green, Torkelson, Carpenter than I think a full stack. But plus 450, I really like those odds for Green. So he is Spidey Bomb number 1. Let's start going position by position. I will throw catcher to you first, Eric. Who do you like at the catcher position today?
Yeah, just kind of also piggybacks Anthony asking about Kansas City or Atlanta. I kind of talked about it earlier, but I'm mostly, especially with Philly and the White Sox kind of back on the table. Look, I understand the Salvador Perez looks good. I understand Bobby Witt looks good, but I'm not playing those guys. And it's even easier because they're really popular. So I don't think that they're that big a standout plays. Like, obviously, if you want to play Salvador Perez, great. There's only 3 catchers projecting over 10%. He projects for 23. I just don't really want to play into that level of ownership in a spot that I don't think is that really much better, if better at all, than the other spots on this slate. So I'm lighter on those 2 teams. So just as we go through positions, figured out I would mention that. If you want to leverage against some of the Gore chalk, I think Yainer Diaz is a very good play. He would be my preferred Astros catcher. If you want to play just a young, talented hitter, Ballesteros for the Cubs, also leverage against Freddie Peralta. But my favorite catcher is Del Castillo from the Diamondbacks, another young, talented hitter that is now up for Arizona. And if you're playing into some of the ownership that's a little bit a little bit, near the top, but not quite so much. I do prefer Sean Murphy to the two Royals guys and William Contreras as well. But Del Castillo and then probably Murphy Contreras for me.
I like this new set of lineups I just made even better than the one I had before. I'm not getting to as many Arizona full stacks, but I'm still getting to a ton of them as mini stacks with Carroll and Marte and Suarez. And then I got more Houston. I have more Washington than I had before. Feeling a lot better about this set of teams here. I did end up with, like you, I'm getting to less Kansas City, but I still do like Salvador Perez at the catcher position. He's my highest owned catcher. I really like the Yainer Diaz pivot, though. That's my favorite pivot. That would be who if I was only running one lineup today, it would be with Yainer Diaz at the catcher position. Wilson Contreras, I don't mind. I'm getting to a little bit of your boy, Carson Kelly, Sean Murphy, and then I don't mind Del Castillo for the Arizona side of things either. First base, Bryce Harper is in a vacuum my favorite, but again, I still don't really think I'm going to be utilizing him in a cash game setting or as a one-off just because of that potential weather. I'm only going to be utilizing him with Philly stacks, and so that leaves me as kind of my favorite spend all the way up is Matt Olson, mid-tier-ish Josh Bell, all the way down, like you said, Andrew Vaughn. From a cash game setting, I think Vaughn would probably be my guy. If I'm going for someone super low owned and off the board, though, Michael Busch is that guy for me today.
Love that. I second pretty much that, but I just want to reiterate, like Andrew Vaughn, I don't know if it was just the White Sox stink, so maybe we'll see. And Luis Robert has been much better for the last month or so. I don't know if it's just the White Sox stink that needed to get off of Andrew Vaughn, but he's been like truly awesome since he's come over to Milwaukee, and the DraftKings has just not cared, I guess, at what he's been doing since he's been over there. 2,800. Mentioned Imanaga not being something that I'm running from. He's easily my favorite. Tristan English is in the lineup for Arizona, is 2K. So if you prefer to go down, you need the 800 or something like that. I guess there's another punt guy down there, and then. You mentioned the Tigers. I also like Spencer Torkelson as a kind of a pay up to be contrarian type option at the top, especially if you're playing the Tigers.
I like it. Take me to second base.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great at second base, but I do like Marte at the top, Ketel Marte at the top. Luis Garcia as the highest owned player does not ever give me the warm and fuzzies. Though I like him. I like the Nats. I get it. He's 3,600. He is a decent hitter. Will steal occasionally. So I totally get it. But like I said, it doesn't make me feel very good as the highest owned second baseman. But neither does Ozzy Albies, honestly, in the year 2025. So I'm not all that interested in the really chalky guys. The White Sox White Sox and Twins guys are okay here at the top, but I'm looking down the board a little bit more. It's kind of interesting. I've been very anti Jose Altuve all year, and he's kind of staring me right in the face against, the Altuve versus a lefty thing forever. He's had a weird year, but as leverage against Mackenzie Gore, I'm pretty interested in Jose Altuve. And then apparently I need to play some more Tigers because Glaber also pops for me quite a bit.
Cash setting. Who do you like better? I don't know if these prices work out. I could just see people in a similar setting to this. Ketel Marte and Zebby Matthews, or Luis Garcia and Gore or Peralta.
I prefer the Zebby. Yeah, the Zebby side.
Zebby Marte.
I think
so. Do that too.
Yeah.
Marte's my number one guy. I have 25% of him. He would be my primary cash choice, though I'm totally okay with Luis Garcia in that situation. I really like Cheese and my guy, Brooks Lee, as a salary saver today. He's batting second for the Twins, so I really like some Brooks Lee. And then the Jose Altuve call, I'm right with you. For what it's worth, I forgot to mention Cody Clemens. So Lee and Clemens for Minnesota. I like both of those guys today. But then Altuve either as a mini stack for Washington, or I do love the full stack with how many guys that Gore has been walking lately. So I'm on the same page there as well. Third base, you have the clear, easy cash game play and Austin Riley. I'm actually getting to more of Eugenio Suarez and Michael Garcia, though. Garcia is going to be chalky, but I do actually really like him as like one of like Garcia, Witt, and Perez are the 3 Kansas City players I'm getting to a lot of. Everybody else I'm kind of ignoring. Who do you like at third base today?
Shout out to Otto Kemp. I feel like he deserves a shout out somewhere. And he's outfield eligible. I just want to mention him at third. If you are playing the Phillies, I think he's a feature, not a bug. He's been a little bit of so far in a very limited sample, kind of a quad A hitter. He hasn't totally put it all together at the major league level, though he's been a little bit unlucky from a batted ball perspective. Hit for a lot of power the last 2 years in the minors. Before that, it was like good hitter, not totally sure, but I like Otto Kemp if you're playing the Phillies, and I think I prefer him at third base because the outfield's actually pretty good, as you would expect. If you don't like Brian Bayo, like I do, Royce Lewis is still 3,200. I prefer the lefties against Bayo, but from a tournament perspective, you got Colt Keith down at 3,000 in those Tiger stacks that we both seem to like, and Royce Lewis is just at least long term too good for 3,200 and this low of ownership on a short slate. Does that mean I'm going to play him? I don't know about that, but those guys kind of pop out, and if they're back in play, maybe talk about him at shortstop. But Colson Montgomery for the White Sox, also just a really talented young player. I love playing those guys at this time of year when we start to get into the young kids are getting called up, and they're usually cheap, and the market hasn't quite figured out what to do with them yet because we don't know how to project like a young prospect. So Montgomery, and somebody tagged him here in lineup HQ, looks pretty appealing too.
Roth saying that I think we can take early delay off the board of potential outcomes in Chicago because the Storms should arrive before game time. They'll need to late start, then be patient and let this line clear, then be expeditious in starting before another round comes late.
Oh, God.
That makes me like that one even less. Because it's a 2:10 p.m. game, I'm probably going to leave it right now and then just adjust after walk if that gets postponed, because likely what I think we get is either a delay with they're going to try and play, or a postponement before the game starts. Right. If that postponement comes before the game starts, because Atlanta and Detroit and Boston, Minnesota will already have happened, I'm going to end up probably with a lot of Cubs because I'm going to need somewhere to spend salary, get my Schwarber and Harper out of there. And Michael Busch, PCA, and Kyle Tucker kind of look like the very easy pivots off of those guys from a price point standpoint. One other guy I want to mention at third base, just because I am getting to him a decent amount because I'm stacking up the Houston team a lot, is Mauricio Dubon. Shortstop, Bobby Witt, I have about 30% of. Trey Turner, I have about 20% of, but that's terrifying right now. At least let me look at the prices. Can I just change all of my Turner to Bobby Witt?
To Witt,
yes.
Yeah.
Turner's $100 more expensive.
Which is hilarious. Why is Trey Turner $100 more expensive than Bobby Witt?
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. But that makes me feel better that I can just take all my Trey Turner and turn it into Bobby Witt or CJ Abrams. You can also play Michael Garcia at shortstop, though I far prefer him at third. Brooks Lee is my favorite punt, but I would rather play him at second. It's really just like a Bobby Witt, CJ Abrams day here. Witt's the cash play. Abrams is the pivot. And then I'll play Turner just because I like Philadelphia so much if that game just gets delayed and not postponed.
Totally agree. Shortstop is pretty straightforward. I have like minor interest in Perdomo, and I liked Colson Montgomery, but it's really hard to turn down the upside, and we have the funds to spend in some spots. So Bobby Witt and CJ Abrams, even though I don't love the Royals so much, which has me leaning more towards CJ Abrams, I think that they look very good. I know you brought up Brooks Lee. We talked about Brooks Lee. I think I prefer him a little bit better at second, but he is 2,900 at shortstop with not many great spend down options since we removed the White Sox guys off the board.
Spidey Bomb number 2 is somebody that you can play at shortstop, even though I would rather play him at third base, and that is Michael Garcia at plus 800 on FanDuel to hit a home run today. So Spidey Bum number 1, we got Riley Green. Number 2, we got Michael Garcia at 800 plus 800. We're at 130 likes right now. Get us up to 150. We got over 300 people watching early in the day. Should be easy to do. Get us 150 likes, and we got Spidey Bum number 3 to go along with Riley Green plus 450, and who did I just say? Michael Garcia at plus 800. Take me to the outfield there.
Yeah, a lot more to choose from in the outfield. Let's see. I mentioned, I think from a tournament perspective, I think James Wood, Corbin Carroll, and the Tigers guys would be my favorite. I would be a little surprised if James Wood is the third highest owned guy. I'm even more surprised that Marcell Ozuna and Randall Grichuk are projecting to be really popular. Like I get the projection angle of it at the price, but I'm steering away from there. Also not interested in Michael Harris at Super Chalk. We're probably removing the White Sox guys that you see littered across the screen here. And so, the Diamondbacks, Nationals. I really wish that. Well, I guess I don't know if I wish this. Cam Smith looks good to me. I wish the Astros had a couple more playable guys, but I do think Cam Smith is like a legit good Major League Baseball hitter and draws that platoon advantage against Mackenzie Gore. So if you're looking for kind of some of that leverage, and then to get really funky from the leverage perspective, I think that the Cubs guy, all 3 of the Cubs guys, are like just awesome plays. PCA and Kyle Tucker especially, but Suzuki to a lesser degree can just get home against anybody. Like they could hit a home run and steal a base against literally anyone. They could get there against the bullpen. It's not like Freddie Peralta is like out here the most efficient pitcher of all time. You know, the guy could have a good game in 5 or 6 innings, come in, you get into the bullpen, and those guys have a big game. So I think from a tournament perspective, those guys, I like a lot of the spend ups basically. So some of those other cheaper, Andrew Vaughn, the cheap catchers, some of those guys really come into play because I like these spend ups in the outfield.
That's exactly how I feel as well. Corbin Carroll's my highest owned guy right now. Schwarber is too, but if we need to pivot off of that game for the weather, then I'll just change all that Kyle Schwarber into Kyle Tucker or PCA. Or even James Wood, because that game doesn't start till a little later as well. So that's kind of how I'm playing things right now. Those are my 4 highest owned outfielders. It's Carroll 1, Schwarber 2, Tucker 3, PCA 4, and then Wood 5, Riley Green 6. So just like you, I'm prioritizing those spend ups today. In the mid range, Cam Smith is my number 1 with Gurriel and Jarren Duran next. And then I don't mind Michael Harris and Marcell Ozuna, both in nice lineup spots, both finally starting to hit the ball better. I think they're both very strong plays today in the outfield as well. Home run picks. I got 2 Spidey Bombs already scrolling there. Riley Green, Michael Garcia. We are 15 likes away from Spidey Bomb number 3. But Erik, how about you? Who do you think? Who do you got hitting a home run today?
Oh, Andrew Vaughn, straight to the podium for Andrew Vaughn today. I'm buying this emergence, and I'm not an Imanaga guy, so Andrew Vaughn's taking him deep today.
I like it. I think that is a phenomenal DFS play today as well. I couldn't get on it for like a sports betting one just because I couldn't see like a number starting with 300 for Andrew Vaughn.
I know,
but his DFS price is only 2,800 on DraftKings, so beautiful spot there for him. Who would be your high-priced homer play today?
Let's go. We'll do 2 because James Wood just has to be on this list. He'll break back out eventually. I trust in the long-term talent. And then let's do this. This counts as high priced enough. Altuve's taking Gore deep as well.
I like it. My third Spidey Bomb might happen to be from Houston as well today. Start taking some questions. 11 minutes to lock. Get your questions in. Go to the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat first. Go to the YouTube chat second. 15 likes away from Spidey Bomb 3. Keep hitting that like button. What do you think about a Bayo and Matthews combo for DK single entry?
I think it's fine.
Yeah, I like that a lot today too. Who would be your favorite FanDuel GPP pitcher today?
Oh, geez. Probably Matthews still over there.
Matthews at 7,800. It is worrisome because you probably almost for sure aren't getting the quality start from him.
Yeah, he's going to need to be pretty efficient to get to the quality start.
But strikeouts are worth so much there that he could get, even if he gets 4 innings, he could have 8-9 strikeouts in those 4 innings.
I'm not sure anybody gets the Peralta is your best bet, I guess. But does anybody feel good about Imanaga or Gore or whatever getting to a quality start? So it would be Peralta. But then if I really want to move down a little bit, I think it'd be Matthews. He's just good. He's just a good, talented young pitcher.
Matthews would be mine too. And then if I'm spending up, it's Peralta over Gore just because he's projecting for much lower ownership. On FanDuel specifically, not on DraftKings. Next question here. Ketel Marte, and you have 3,200 remaining for the outfield, or Luis Garcia and 5,500 remaining for the outfield. So you're looking at, for a cash game setting, I'll sort that part out for him, and I'll say, would you want Luis Garcia and Riley Green for DK Cash, or would you want Ketel Marte and... Oh, you just miss Randall Grichuk, Michael Harris, Marcell Ozuna. So Isaac Collins. Would you go Isaac Collins and Marte, or would you go Riley Green and Garcia?
Riley Green and Garcia.
Yeah, me too. When it's that specifically, I thought I was going to be leaning to the Marte side, but I kind of in my head, Ozuna and Harris were affordable in that range, and since they're not, I would definitely go that Luis Garcia side as well. On this slate, would you be okay with having a batter against your pitcher?
I don't love it because I kind of want, if we're playing lower owned pitch. So if I'm playing Peralta, if I'm playing the chalk guys, definitely not. If I'm playing Bayo or Zebby or something, I just don't really even like those stacks either. I guess if you're playing Wentz, you could play Bobby Witt against Wentz and just be Witt takes him deep and he mows the rest of them down or something. It's hard for me to envision a scenario where I would like that, just because I don't really like the bats against, you know what I mean? I don't love the bats against certain individual pitchers like Matthews, even like Bayo. And if I'm playing Cubs guys right against Peralta or Astros guys against Gore, it's because I kind of want to leverage off of those guys and think that they have a bad game. So like I said, maybe against Wentz or something like that, but it's thin.
Going back to that, I'm kind of in the same mindset for what it's worth. I very rarely play a batter against my pitcher, but a Witt against Wentz, as Perez against Wentz, I think that's totally fine. Even a PCA against Peralta, I think would be totally fine as well. Having said that, I would probably just rather go Riley Green or James Wood if I'm pitching Peralta. Going back to that cash question we just had, I think my favorite option in that price range for a 2v2 would be Brooks Lee, and then a mid to higher 3K outfielder.
I like that.
So instead of Garcia and oh wait, no, that wouldn't work either because that doesn't work from the price break standpoint. Okay, never mind. Ignore me. I was thinking about something that didn't make sense. McKinstry or Profar, FanDuel GPP last piece.
McKinstry.
Are you guys good with the 5-man Nat stack today? Absolutely. I think we both are very high on the Nationals today. Love a 5-man Nat stacked. Blake Perkins day, if he's in the lineup, sure. I don't mind Blake Perkins playing with Milwaukee. Can we pivot off of Zebby Matthews for Ryan Nelson?
I don't want to dunk on any pitcher because I don't really Ryan Nelson is fine. Could he scrape through a decent outing? Sure. I think it's possible. I think Zebby is a better pitcher with more upside in a better spot. So and I'm not getting that steep of an ownership discount, at least what we have projected. I don't think it's crazy, but I would just rather play Zebby.
100%. That's how I feel as well. I'm playing 150 lineups and fading the expensive ones. So I am getting to a fair amount of Ryan Nelson. I have 30%. but I have over 50% Zebby Matthews. So he's definitely my priority between the two of them. What did I see here? Ketel Marte and Josh Bell, or Matt Olson and Luis Garcia for FanDuel. That is a clear Marte and Josh Bell for me on that one. I like Bell quite a bit. Will my boy Erik be back for the main slate today? Are you on the main slate crunch time? I don't think so. Are you?
No, I'm not.
I am not either, but I can tell you right now who will be back for the main slate crunch time today. You'll have Dean and Kyle on GrindersLive, and you will have Kevin Roth, Tim, Tasteful Tides, Buell, and Chris Kirkwood coming in for the later slate crunch time today. Let's see. 5 minutes to lock. If you got any more questions, get them in. What do you think about, I believe his name is Drew Milias, the cheap option for Washington?
He's
today.
so bad. He's so bad.
And not even that cheap. Millis.
Isn't he? He's like, hold on. I just want to double check, pull up some numbers. He's okay. I see in some small samples, it doesn't look that bad, but we're talking about a ISO. The bat has him at a 0.92 ISO at catcher, and a 79 WRC plus. So yeah, I understand you're saying he's not bad because of 21 plate appearances this year and 33 in 2023. But if we look at the bat, he is well below league average with 0 power. So not for me.
That is about it for questions so far. We are all caught up with about 3 minutes left to lock. How many likes are we away from Spidey Bomb number 3? Let's see. Still 12 away. Can we get 12 likes in 4 minutes? Let's see. Drop your questions about, what we're having for lunch, what we're having for dinner, what we're playing today for baseball, who we like for best ball. Get your QQs in the meantime. Erik, give us a quick little recap of your, say, top 3 GPP pitchers and then top 3 stacks.
Yep. Zebby, Bayo, and I'm going to throw Wentz in there. I think I need to bet the under on the Twins game, by the way. If I keep not talking about those hitters. Zebby, Bayo, and Wentz, I think, for tournaments at pitchers. Wentz is definitely DraftKings only. The other two are much preferred on DraftKings, but I don't hate them on FanDuel. And then what you say? What was just overall general bats?
Yeah,
I do like. We'll do Washington, Arizona, Milwaukee.
All right. DK Cash, would you go Grichuk or Michael Harris? I think I'd go with Harris there.
Me too.
3,800 or less outfielder in DK Cash. I have Gurriel right now. Who would you go with? I think Harris would still be my guy.
Gurriel, Cam Smith will be my top 2 there.
Gurriel or Cam Smith. Michael Garcia and Cody Clemens, or Riley Green and Brooks Lee?
Riley Green, Brooks Lee.
Yeah, that is how I feel as well. Going back to the Discord, we got anything there? No, we do not. Refresh. Are we at 150 likes? No, we are not. With no more questions and a minute left to lock, we will get out of here a little bit early. Put some more time in your day. We'll be back for another show later. It'll be Dean Powell for GrindersLive. You'll have Kirk Dees, Kevin Roth, and Tim Buell coming up for the evening crunch time. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Hit the like button on your way out. And don't forget to join us later and join us coming soon for some NFL content. And if you do want some NFL content, Fantasy Labs is your home for season-long fantasy football and best ball content. Get access to rankings, projections, articles, and more from award-winning experts like Sean Corner and Chris Raybon. Fantasy Labs now has an app that allows you to get real-time rankings, draft cheat sheets, and lineup advice on the go. Sign up now with code RG15 for $15 off. That'll do it. Thank you so much, everyone. On behalf of myself, Erik, Steve, doing an amazing job behind the scenes. We will see you next time.